Hi guys, my name is Abby with US FICO, and today we're going to be talking about 4 tips to improve your radio calls. Tip number 1 is make a plan. So when you are going out for a flight, the first thing you should be doing when you are a very new flight student is making a plan for what you're going to do that day, what your priorities are, and what radio calls that you need to practice for that day. For example, if you are going to go on a cross country with a flight instructor, or if you are going to stay in the pattern at your local airport, know who you're going to be talking to, and then you can practice and even write out what those calls are going to sound like. And that's a really good way to prepare yourself for not only what you are going to be saying, but also what you would be hearing back and then potentially repeating back depending on who you're talking to. So for example, if you are talking to, let's say you're about to call a ground, and you are ready to taxi. So we need to plan out what you are going to say, so you're able to kind of make the concise call and have it even written out on your knee board. So okay, so you're ready to talk to Des Moines Ground. So the call would sound like this: who they are, who you are, where you are / what you want to do, and then do you have the weather information. So it would sound like this: Des Moines Ground, flight code 69R Golf, is at signature ready to taxi with Atis Yankee. Okay, tip number 2 is listen to others. I loved when I was learning how to really become proficient in comms. I loved listening to YouTube videos or radio calls. Just getting like the feel for how people are talking to one another can give you a really, really good demonstration of what it's supposed to sound like. And it just gives you more and more comfort with what you'll be hearing, the cadence at which you'll be hearing things and speaking things. And it's a really good way to just gain confidence and comfort with comms. Okay, tip number 3, figure out the flow. Okay, as you hear more and more comms on the radio and you gain confidence, then tip number 3, figure out the flow. So this involves really understanding for each phase of who you're talking to in air traffic control. What is the purpose of the call that I'm making? And how can I make it concise and really understandable? So those are the important things that you want to do. You want to be able to communicate as concisely as possible while still getting your message across. Okay, and that leads me to tip number 4. If you don't understand something, ask. I think that the common misconception is that you're supposed to understand what everything is right off the bat, and lots of times people would even do something that they're not being asked or not understand fully what an instruction is because they're afraid to kind of clarify what it means. So I always recommend with student pilots, especially before you're rated, at your private pilot rating, to really, when you get on with clearance, the first person that you talk to of the day, if you're at a towered airport, just let them know that you're a student pilot soloing. And that's going to be really important because they're going to give you some grace for not understanding things. And if you're ever in a situation where you've been instructed to do something or they ask you a question and you're really not sure about what that means, it is 100% more important to clarify it by just asking, hey, I'm a student pilot, I'm not sure what that means, can you explain? In just like common language. And it's much more important to do that than to make a mistake or comply with something in the wrong way, because ultimately what matters the most is people's safety. So it might take a little bit more time, but it's definitely the right call to make. This was 4 tips on how to improve your radio calls. Thanks, guys.